What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk to you about the top 3 small cap stocks to buy for November 2024. So I want to go over all the things that you need to know, but first make sure you hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, there's a couple data points coming out the first week in November that is really going to lay the foundation for pretty much the remainder of the month. And that is elections. So elections is coming out right here on Tuesday, November the 5th. And then aside from that, the Feds. So this could be another 25 basis point cut based on the forecast. So that does mean so far would be 75 basis points in 2024. With possibly another one coming right down the pipeline in December. But still, again, this is going to lay the foundation down, and for a lot of small to mid cap stocks would benefit from rate cuts. So again, with that in consideration, let's get right to it. So first stock is ticker PIPR. So Piper Sandler Companies. Over the last 1 year, it is up 102.15%, and in 2024, up 62.21%. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. This right here is a lot of good information. Not necessarily going to go over all of it, but this is right here the company profile. So feel free to pause it and read through it right here, but it is based out of good old Minneapolis in the US. But one thing that I do want to draw to your attention is this right here. So based on the last 10 years, it does yield 9.4% of a return. And so it does essentially have a 100% win rate for November. So I have brought this up in the past, and I'm a big stats individual. And of course, kind of past performance doesn't always dictate what might come, but over the last 10 years, it is something to take note of. So once again, kind of add that to your mix overall. It just had their earnings on the 25th, wasn't necessarily the best, so that's caused a little bit of a pullback in the short term. But beside the point though, still fairly good stuff. It does pay a yield or a dividend of roughly 1.27%, has a ex-dividend date in November. So usually you see a little bit of a run up into the ex-dividend date. So again, that could add some benefit to November. But aside from that, I like to bring this up, not because these stocks or any of these stocks is a squeeze play, but it's good to analyze what shorts have been doing. So right now, 2% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 307.31 thousand shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow minimum is negative. It's nothing crazy, but it is negative 0.05%. So meaning there is a broker out there physically paying people to short this company. And just overall, shorts have been returning quite a lot over the last little bit. And so once again, they might be looking at the same data that I'm just sharing with you. Historically, it does go up, right? So once again, something to kind of consider overall. And in the short term, right now with it at 283 and change, it is trading between this S1 and the pivot. So somewhat kind of evenly divided with the broader market, but 278 and change is going to be the next strong support, and then 289 is going to be the following resistance / target, followed by 299, 306, and then 316. Quickly popping over to IBKR just to give you a quick overview of what analysts are saying. There was one done 5 days ago, just a hold by JMP Securities, Devin, who has a 69% success rating. But aside from that, the only analyst out there that has actually given a price target was done last month, so it wasn't really correlated with their recent earnings. Goldman Sachs, James, who has a 56% success rating, gave a 292 prediction. So all in all, like I said, I think there's a lot more room on the table for it to really go up. And one thing that I personally really like to look at is what institutions have been doing. So based on quarter over quarter, institutions did increase their position 5.37%. I like that, right? Strategic entities going down 15%. Obviously, there could be a lot of reasons to justify that. And retail did go down 20%. So again, I really like this information. So this is stock number 1. Moving on to stock number 2, you have Six Flags. So ticker FUN. And so over the last roughly 6 months, actually it looks like it's been trading less than that or for whatever reason, but over the last 1 month, it is up 3.7%. Again, a lot of good information up over there. This is what they do. In case you don't know, I'm pretty sure a lot of people know what they do at this stage. They also do have their earnings coming up fairly soon. So the earnings is slated for November the 6th. This is the current estimate. So $3.44 for the earnings per share, 1.34 billion for the forecasted revenue. And over the last 90 days, 0 positive and 4 negative revisions to the earnings per share. And regrettably, it doesn't pay a dividend. But similar to the very first stock that I talked on, over the last 10 years, so something must have happened with the stock why it's not really showing the bigger picture kind of stuff, and it only showed the last 6 months. But beside the point, historically, over the last 10 years, it does yield 8.3% in November, and another very similar scenario, it does have a 100% win rate for November. So something to kind of keep in mind. Shorts are a little bit more active with this stock. So 10.92% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 10.95 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average is 0.62%. Utilization 4.6. Once again, just for transparency, this is not a squeeze play, but shorts have been really getting in on this company. So roughly in September, short interest was 8.62. And so they're starting to get in a little bit more than the norm. So something, once again, to keep in mind. With their earnings right around the corner, the implied move is roughly 7.01%. So could go in either direction, roughly about $2 and change, or almost $3. So factor that into everything, whether you're doing options or whatever. But in the short term, with it right now at $40 and change, it is trading between this pivot and this R1. So 39.57 will be a strong support. 42.41 is going to be the first level of resistance / targets that you want to watch for, followed by 44 and then 47. Quickly going back over to IBKR, looking at Six Flags. So analysts right now are forecasting, or at least have given estimates. Last one was done 4 days ago, so that's rather odd to see a rating leading into earnings, but initiated coverage, $52 price target. Guggenheim Curry, who has a 58% success rating. There was another one done 4 days ago, 56. Morgan Stanley, Thomas, 36% success rating, so not the best. But as a consensus of all these ratings, 52.25, and that does represent a 28.63% upside. So something to kind of keep in mind. Just looking at the ownership, you see the institutions up 47.79%, strategic 27.5%, and other, aka retail, 51%. So there must have been something happen, obviously a dilution aspect to really cause all of this to go up. So something to kind of keep in mind, but this is in a percentage basis. So 63.29% is held by institutions. So still rather good stuff in my opinion. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. But as well, on a side note, Six Flags would definitely benefit from rate cuts as consumers' buying power would increase, and lo and behold, that's how their basis of their whole business runs, right? Moving on to the last stock is ticker AWI, so Armstrong World Industries. Over the last 1 year, it is up 82.11%, and in 2024, up 42.99%. Based on this, it does have, or they just had their earnings on the 29th. Somewhat mixed, not the best. All in all, minor miss, it looks like, with the actual revenue. It beat on the actual normalized earnings per share, but once again, it does have another 100% win rate for November that yields 8.5%, once again, over the last 10 years. This is what they do, in case you are not familiar with them. So building products, 3,500 employees, founded in 1860. And just to give you an overview, it does pay a 0.88% yield, and they have an ex-dividend date coming up in November, so beginning of November. So once again, you could see a little bit of buying associated to that. So something to kind of keep in mind. It's not heavily shorted, so 1.28% of the free float's being shorted. Works out to be 551.88 thousand shares. Shorts haven't really done all that much. They were a little bit more active in the beginning of this year, but they've definitely been going down, largely probably because of the stock performance and whatever else. But with it at 140 and change, it is trading between this pivot and this R1. So 137 will be a strong support. And then 142 is going to be the first line of resistance, followed by 145 and then 151. So kind of just take note of those ones. And as I have done, popping over to IBKR just to go over this last stock, you have the analysts as of right now looking like fairly optimistic. So last one just came out 3 days ago. Obviously a lot of that is correlated with the recent earnings, but $162 buy rating. And Keith, who has a 68% success rating, you also had 145, 140. As a average, $142.25 is anticipated, and that is a 1.18% upside. But Elliott Wave Technicals, I'll give you an overview of what that is saying. So as of right now, with a pivot point of $136 and change, it is anticipated to get between that 146 and 149 range. So with, like I said, elections, interest rates coming out this week, I think that'll lay the foundation for just higher highs. It also has a ex-dividend date, so I think there's going to be a lot more room for this to essentially go up from here. So this is the top 3 stocks that I feel that you need to really add to your watch list for November, because like I said, data, yes, sometimes is wrong, but there's a good chance, historically speaking, that it will go up. So once again, let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. One thing I do want to share with you though, if you like all of this information, such as analysts' forecasts, financials, everything under the sun, take a look at IBKR. I have a link in the description below and also the comments for all of it to be completely free. So definitely take advantage of that. And then over and above that, if you like my channel, want to support the growth, you can definitely join as a member. Link in the description below for that as well. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.